welcome Missouri Realtors 2021 President, Janet Rodriguez Judd.
Hello, everybody. Hi, hi, hi. All right, well, let me get up here. I was busy talking, which is what I'm really good at. Almost tripped there. Hold on. Get this. All right. Got a bright light in my eyes. Let's just go for it. Thank you, everyone, for being here for our first hybrid conference in January. I mean, this is truly an adventure, and I'm glad you guys are here. It's important that those of us that wanted to be here live and in person, we're here, made it happen. And good. And those that wanted to be virtual, we want them to have the same experience, so we're doing everything the same on the front end and the back end. So I hope they enjoy it also. So let's go. It was very important to have this hybrid conference to us, and I just appreciate the staff doing everything that they did to make it happen. So please join me in welcoming the Color Guard, the Marines, to do our national Bring Up the Flag. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. In the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
I didn't get a chance to introduce him. This is Mr. Charles Glenn. He's the anthem singer. He just retired, but he was the national anthem singer for the St. Louis Blues. And I've listened to him for years. I'm thrilled that he's here, absolutely thrilled. And I told him earlier, I said, he's the only man other than my husband that's given me goosebumps. So every time this man sings, every time. So thanks again. Bless you. God be with you. Thank you. All right. We did our color guard. John Mayfield, come on up. John Mayfield, our president-elect, is about to come on the stage. Your microphone.
Janet, and thank you everyone for attending today. I would like to take this moment to ask Lynn Van Meter if she would come to the stage. Whoops.
That's a tough step, you guys. I did it.
You
Yes,
okay?
it's like taller than you expect. Yeah.
Thank you, Lynn, for coming up. Very quickly, if you want to come on up here and you can turn around toward the audience. We'd like to know how many first-time attendees we have today. So if you're a first-time attendee, raise your hand. All right. And take note of those first-time attendees. Make them feel welcome. You probably, as myself, remember the first time we attended a Missouri Business Conference. And it's always nice when someone comes up and welcomes you and includes you. And I just want to encourage you to come back to our meetings. You'll grow as a real estate professional. You'll make long-term friends, and you'll get referrals. I know that. So thank you for attending. We appreciate our first-time visitors. Now, immediate past president of the Missouri Council of Realtors, Lynn Van Meter, will lead us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lynn. I'm now going to ask Andrea Sheridan, our treasurer for 2021, to come to the stage.
Hello. I don't know who I'm introducing because my attachment is not happening.
Here you go. The Realtor Pledge. There you go. Right
perfect.
there. Can you see
Who
it?
am I introducing?
Oh, you're doing your Sandy
Oh,
Grassmuck.
yay. All right. We would like to welcome to the stage Sandy Grassmuck, who is going to lead us in the Realtor Pledge.
And Sandy's the incoming president for Women's, or she is the president of Women's Council 2021. Woohoo!
So I would like to thank the entire Missouri leadership team for inviting me to come up here and lead you guys in the Realtor Pledge. So if you will join me, everything's up on the screen for you guys to read along. The Realtor Pledge: to strive to be honorable and to abide by the golden rule. To strive to serve well my community and through it my country. To abide by the Realtor's Code of Ethics and to strive to conform to my conduct to its
inspirational ideas.
to act honestly in all real estate dealings, to protect individual rights of real property. Now I can't see it. To seek better to represent my clients by building my knowledge and competence. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Andrea, you got it? We have like what's called a confidence monitor that's usually there. And so bear with us. It's part of going hybrid.
We love it. This is so
Yes,
fun.
it's part of, you don't see me sweating.
I'm going to steal your microphone, too. Thank you, Sandy, and thank you, President Janet, whose idea was to recite the Realtor Pledge, also known as the Realtor Oath, at all of our major meetings in 2021. In fact, Janet, I believe your challenge is that we all consider reciting the Realtor Pledge at our local board meetings, too.
I hope you do. At every meeting you have.
Now we invite Jeff Kester to the stage.
Right, that's my phone.
Let's see, you need a microphone. Hello. Hello.
So lots of presidents around here. We got a new president today. We're celebrating a new Missouri Realtors president tomorrow night. And I would like to invite now one of the more important presidents in my career now, my local board president, Bud Jones, to come on up here. Was that enough sucking up, Bud?
Thank you, Jeff. Could I ask you to stand one more time and join me in prayer, please?
Thank you, Bud.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for this past year that we were able to conduct business and that we can be together, those of us that are here and those of us that are joining virtually as a Realtor family for the state of Missouri. We as well today look toward our nation, Father, and we thank you for those that fight today to honor the freedom which you authored for us. We thank you for this new year. We thank you for new leadership in our country and in our organization. May you give them all wisdom, Father, as they move through this year. We just love you, and we ask these things in your Son's name. Amen. You may be seated.
Thank you, Bud. All right. I'd like to have John Seabree, our CEO. He's joining us, and now I have my leadership team up here. Thank you. I'd like to introduce you guys. We've got John Seabree, our CEO, Jeff Kester, our immediate past president. We've got John Mayfield as the president-elect, and Andrea as our 2021 treasurer. And on Friday, you'll be voting for the next person to be on the leadership team. That would be the treasurer of 2022. And the next time when we're together, you'll see that person on the stage with us also. All right, so I'd like to recognize all the past presidents. If they're here, I'd like them to stand. Past presidents of Missouri Realtors. Some are in person, some are virtual, so we'll just acknowledge them. And I want to have some special recognition for 3 national past presidents, National Association of Realtors, Lane Morrill, Elizabeth Mendenhall, and Richard Mendenhall. Such a great honor to have them represent us here in Missouri. So many of you will remember that my campaign was Ideas Matter, and that's something you're going to hear me talk about, is that each and every one of your ideas matter to all of us. And so I want you to know that everything's you can talk about and bring anything to the table is what I want you to know, and we're going to listen. I also want you to know that I've got like 3 pillars is what I call it, and it's called Invigorate, Inspire, and Invest. And what I want us to do with that is I want us, Missouri Realtors, to, when you leave here, I want you to feel invigorated. I want you to feel excited about Missouri Realtors, about your career, about our industry. And that's what I want us to do for you. I want to inspire you to be your best, not only here, but when you get home with your family, your clients, your friends. And that's what we're going to try to help everyone with too. And the other part of it is invest. I want you to invest not only in our Realtor Political Action Committee, that's a given, but I want you to invest in yourselves. Invest in learning, invest in education, going the extra mile. So we're going to be talking about all those pillars at some point this year. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And so right now, I want to talk about how every one of you sitting here has a different perspective. You got here by a different path, a different journey. Many of us have other careers that we had before we got here. So that's what I want to talk about with my team and we're going to talk about a lot, but I want you to know us a little bit and what did we do before we got here. So John?
Hello, everybody. Immediately before I got here, I was the Senior Vice President of Public Policy for Florida Realtors. Prior to that, I was the senior lobbyist for the National Association of Realtors, and prior to that, I worked for the U.S. House of Representatives for 2 years on the House Banking Committee staff. So the only one up here who hasn't been a realtor practitioner.
That's impressive. Thank you. How about you?
Well, it wasn't Congress. Can Mayfield go? And then it will, so immediately before I got my real estate license, I was a loan officer. But before that, when I got out of college, my family's business is furniture. So I was a furniture sales rep. I called on furniture stores in Missouri and Kansas. But as my dad, since I worked for my dad, he traveled Missouri basically, and I traveled Kansas. And I did that until about 6 months after I got married. Still in that honeymoon year, and it was January. And if you've ever been to Garden City, Kansas in January, you walk out the hotel lobby door, and it's about 300 below zero before you factor in the wind. And when the wind hits you, it's already visited the feedlot and the stockyards. It's on its way down the hill. And I thought of this cute little gal that I had in Springfield, Missouri, and I thought that maybe I'd start working closer to home. So I got a job as a mortgage loan officer. A year later, a friend of mine for whom I did a lot of loans said, "Why don't you get your license and get into this?" I said, I don't know if this, if there's really a future in it. So 25 years later, here I am. So.
And I want to share something about Jeff. He knows highways, he knows everything. We've done road trips together, and he's really fun on road trips. He won't let me drive. But anyway, I got Jeff a little something. He's immediate past president. He's having a hard time with it, so be gentle. All right? So he's having a really hard time. So here's a little present for you.
Oh, thank you.
He and I both, you can open it.
Should I open it in front of everybody?
Yeah, go ahead. We love Star Wars. We are, Brian, Jared, myself, we're just like Star Wars freaks. And we'll talk the plots, we'll argue about the movies, we'll do all this. So I had to get him this. Do you see it?
Is that a Darth Vader tie?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
I know. It's a Darth Vader tie, and it has like little red lightsabers on it.
Do you wear it when you're in your TIE fighter?
You could, but you could wear
See,
it to
the
the
nerds in the
director's-
room got the joke.
Get a TIE fighter. Those are the little planes. Yeah. Todd.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Todd has no
Todd.
MLS access
All right.
after right now.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
And this is a little tie tack from The Mandalorian because we're gaga over that.
Well,
so
thank you so much.
I hope you enjoy it. Blessings. And you can wear it to the BOD on Friday.
Absolutely.
So my story is my very first job. I was 16, needed spending money, so I was a car hop at A&W. So that's my first job. And the hard thing about being a car hop was because of the A&W root beer and it's sweet and all the bees, and you'd still have to hold that tray when all the bees were kind of stinging you. So no allergies, but that was my car hop experience. Eventually, I went on. All I ever wanted to do when I was growing up was be a law enforcement officer. So thank you, God, I got to do that. I met my husband there and ended up leaving the department at some point, but law enforcement was always near and dear to me, and it always will be, and realtor safety is too. So that's my story.
Okay, I left college as a vocal music and education major. I'm so using that right now. No. So I taught elementary school. I taught K through 5 elementary music, and then reluctantly got my real estate license to help my mom after she had open heart surgery. And then I made more money in the summer than I did all year teaching, and decided that real estate was kind of for me. And I've been here ever since.
Glad you did. Thank you. John?
So I had a couple of jobs at high school as well. I was a lifeguard, and I learned that was a real boring job. And when you kicked guys out of the pool, they would wait for you to beat you up after you left. So I thought, that's not my gig. Worked for my dad a little bit in retail, and that helped me learn about sales. And And I always wanted to go into broadcasting and film, so I was a radio announcer for a local radio station. And I'm from Farmington, Missouri, south of here, and they took phonics out of school when I was a kid. So I remember saying, and that's James Taylor up on a ruff. And the music director came in and said, did you just say rough? And anyway, so I kind of like thought maybe broadcasting's not for me. But my mom told me, did you know that you only have to be 18 to get your real estate license? So I got my license in 1978 and have been here ever since and love it and excited to be up here.
That's what I forgot to say was, yes, I was at the police department, and in the police department, you're always having extra gigs to make extra money. It's like bank security and stuff like that. So my husband, when he sold his house, he said, hey, Jay, you were really involved in that. Why don't you get your license? So I did, and that's how I got into real estate. I did it part-time for a couple of years, and eventually it just kind of took over. So that's how I ended up here. So I only told part of the story.
Yada, yada,
Yada, yada, yada. All right, guys. John, do we want to sit down or do we want to stand up? Yeah, let's go ahead and sit down. Let me put this here. And now we're just going to talk to you guys about like some of the big things that happened today. So John, why don't you start for us?
I would say the biggest thing that happened today is strat planning. And John, you appointed our strat planning chair. You want to,
Yes.
rather than me take all the credit, you should probably
Well,
talk about it.
and Jennifer, she did an amazing job today as our chair, and Daryl as co-chair, and anyone who's on strategic planning, you want to stand up so everybody can see you guys.
4-hour meeting.
So, you know, I've been in real estate for a long, long time, and I remember I think it was 1986 or 87. In my area, we always had the state hospital, and we had a few industries, but I remember they recruited Huffy Bicycle to come to Farmington. And they employed like 600 people. And that's when I saw the housing boom in my area really take off. And we saw new businesses come in. And you know, and we've all seen this in our communities, that's when I noticed that, boy, if you can connect jobs, it connects housing, it brings commercial industry, it just feeds all of the things. And John, you were mentioning today, I had no idea that NAR said for every house that's sold, it brings another $54,000 to the community in revenue. So one of the really cool things you understand we've been involved with MIPIM and the Hawthorne Foundation for several years, which is all about that. And John he gets lots of ideas pitched to him, but he brought an idea to us for a magazine. It's actually more than a magazine. You kind of hate to use the word magazine because it's also digital and online. But it's called Destination Missouri. It's geared at industry. It's geared at attracting businesses to come to Missouri. So in strategic planning today, we're going to hopefully move forward with that. There's still some things we need to bring forth, but I think that's going to be huge for us. We're going to MIPIM. John's always talked about the fact that Missouri's kind of in the crossroads of a great destination for many, many companies and businesses. We feel like that investment, that support, will hopefully bring new industries to Missouri. Through MIPIM, John, you can kind of mention that. It was directly pretty much responsible for 300 jobs in the Kansas City area.
Yeah, we've had a number of successes, and you all hear me talk about economic development all the time, but you realize these are things you can't do just once. You can't be a flash in the pan. You have to make an investment and stick with it. And we went to MIPIM, and if you don't know, it's the largest commercial real estate expo in Europe. It's held in southern France in March, the rainy season, by the way, not the season to lay out on the beach. And NAR put together a USA pavilion. So we had a Missouri booth there. And
sounds great.
Yeah, we met this company the
He
first
didn't get to
year.
go.
Don't say travel around Jeff.
He didn't get to go anywhere last year. He didn't even get to go out of state. He didn't get to go to DC or New Orleans. But we worked this company for 3 years in a row. We met them the first year, and they ended up bringing over 300 jobs to the Kansas City area. And when you multiply that times the 54,000 that each one of those good-paying jobs when they bought a house, the impact on real estate's enormous.
So that was one of the things that came out. The other thing that I am excited about is we're going to begin having a DR call monthly for all the designated realtors where we can talk about emerging issues, things that are that they need help with. And so we feel like if we can provide value to your brokers, your designated realtor broker, we can share ideas and do that regularly, that they can take those items back to their offices and to their agents to bring more people involved in Missouri Realtors. So we had lots of other items we talked about, but it was a great session, and I'm just excited that you all are involved in supporting and how the strategic team came up with some great ideas.
Andrea, why don't you share with us about emerging issues and candidates forum and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys knew, something exciting is happening Friday, and there's 2 people in the room that are super invested in what's going to happen on Friday, and that is our election of next year's treasurer. And as you know, 2020 was unprecedented and a little weird, and so through that, we weren't able to have some of our regularly scheduled meetings. And so in the process of deciding how do we create an election that is fair for all of our candidates, we pivoted a little bit, and now we will be able to, everyone who is a director will be able to vote online. Even the people that are in the room for board of directors will be able to vote from their phone. So it will be a way that we can promote the fairness and the opportunity for everybody's voice to be heard for the next leader that will join us up here on stage as we move forward. And then our Emerging Issues Forum, I can't wait. You guys are going to have such a great time. We have some great speakers, and we have a lot of topics that we're going to be diving into and unpacking as they relate to our businesses and what we do back at home as we help homeowners protect their property rights and things like that.
Yeah, we've been asking you what keeps you up at night for 3 years in a row now, and the comments that you sent in 24 hours, almost 200 of you responded to that 2-question survey. And it was like 4 items that you all agreed keep you up at night, and they were the Department of Justice and MLS rules and lawsuits and what's going to happen in a new administration in Washington and what are the demographic trends and things. So we have 3 speakers that are going to tackle those 3 things. NAR's General Counsel, Katie Johnson, will deal with all those legal issues in Department of Justice. Jessica Lautz, if you've not seen her before, she works for Lawrence Yun, but we love Jessica. She is so amazing. She's got her doctorate and is really incredible with emerging trends and demographic things that are fascinating. And then we've got one of the NAR lobbyists who's going to talk to us about the Biden administration and what they expect from a real estate legislative regulatory perspective.
So Jeff, why don't you talk to us about President's Cup and advocacy and about Fairhaven?
Well, I'm glad to see there's all that agreement on those emerging issues, because that just leads us right into realtor advocacy that never rests and never sleeps. And I want to take this opportunity to thank every one of you who invested in RPAC last year, who became a major investor for the first time, who talked to somebody else in our association about RPAC and what we do and why we do it. I mean, we could just talk forever and ever about, how screwed up of a year it was, and frankly, I'm a little offended by all of you dissing my year like you have. But we went down to the wire. Missouri has a long tradition of winning the President's Cup because of our advocacy efforts and our RPAC investments. And it came down to the wire, but because of the efforts of so many people in this room, all kind of headed by General Erin Hervey. Many thanks to her, but at the very last moment, we crossed that line and earned the President's Cup in 2020. And I'm glad there's not video. There may have been, some people in the room when that was announced that may have gotten a little emotional at the news. But realtor advocacy never stops, and thank you so much for all you do as part of it.
John, let's talk about the landing and going green.
Yeah, NAR has the hub now, and we like to think Missouri Realtors have got this down pat because we've had the landing for as long as we have, and we know, and when you checked in, you got a card. This is a blown up version of it, but this number, we had 11,127 unique logins in 2020, which is just really overwhelming. The percentage increase is unbelievable, and we just love it that you are posting, downloading, uploading, and logging into the landing. It's really incredible. On that same line, the legal hotline, you are calling it the heck out of it. I think the legal hotline numbers are up 3,500 calls in 2020. There are more than 70 calls a week for our attorneys that are just constantly answering your questions, and it's pretty incredible that our members are using it the way they are.
That's a 50% increase over the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Talking about statistics, I'm really proud of the fact that our staff, NAR grants, that they wrote grants for on behalf of our associations, and we received $418,283 worth of grants, which was for our state and local, so we need to give them a hand. We have 342 major investors, and if you're a major investor, please stand up. Oh, me too. Yeah. Thank you. And then let's go ahead. I think we've covered everything.
We're going to cover so much over the next couple of days that
are.
I think we need to leave you up here.
Yeah,
by yourself.
Let's get the show started. And then, should I sit down, or no? Should I stay on stage, or what should I do?
Yeah, I think you should stay on stage, and
okay, I don't want to get in
you'll have a
anybody's way.
conversation.
Okay.
By yourself.
All by myself. All right, team. Yep, as she steps on a mic. All right. Okay, let me put this down. So, when I approached John Seabree about this particular author, it's because he's a legend in police work, and he's a linguist. He's a body language expert, and his name is Joe Navarro. And I had one of his books for years, and it was all marked up and all that good stuff, and I let someone borrow it, one of my kids, and I never got it back. So I ended up buying another copy, and this one looks just as bad. So when we talked about a speaker, I thought that body language, that's something we use on every single listing call, when we were buyers, and so he's going to be talking about that with us. So the formal introduction for him is, not many people can say they were personally approached to join the FBI, but that's exactly what Joe Navarro, when he was working as a police officer when he was 23 years old, he accepted their offer, and he became one of the youngest agents ever to join the FBI. So he spent 25 years there. He was in counterintelligence, counterterrorism, and he trained, I don't even know how many agents. But through his work, he was able to study, refine, and apply the science of nonverbal communications. His acumen in the field, he's like world-renowned, world-respected, and he had success as a spy catcher, and that led him to training the agents and the intelligence community. So he retired from the FBI in 2003. We still wanted him, people still wanted him, so then he started consulting around the world. So he's dedicated himself to that. So now he's recognized as one of the world's foremost experts, and the book, it says, What Every Body is saying. So George Clooney and Grant Haley's Smokehouse Pictures, they bought the rights to one of his books. It's called 3 Minutes to Doomsday. And so that's going to be one heck of a movie. And it's about how Joe Navarro, using nonverbal communications, broke up or uncovered the most dangerous terrorism security breach in the United States. So let's give a really warm welcome to Joe Navarro.
Thank you, Janet, and what a pleasure it is to be here with you. Janet, as I was listening to all the speakers before me, it struck me as each one talked about where they worked previously, that in the end, all of us in this room, or whether you're at home, we're really all in the business of people. We are in the people business. And if there's one thing that I've learned over the years, and I've been studying human behavior since 1974, is that whoever is best at understanding others, whoever is best at comprehending them, about being empathetic, about sensing their feelings and thoughts and their fears, that those are the people that are going to be most successful. And as you look around your room or you look at your own life, I can assure you that if you have been successful, it is because you are in the business of people, not just in the real estate business, not just in being a realtor, but in the business of people. And I appreciate this opportunity that Janet has given me, because she's a good friend. She is a lifelong learner. And I think every realtor I've ever met comes across that way. They're just curious, they're inquisitive, and they care. And I thought in this brief amount of time that we have, that I would share with you some of the things that I've learned about the body language of business, the nonverbals of business. And so I will go through this very quickly. We'll have a few minutes in the end to ask questions if I can get Janet to help me out with that. So I'll move quickly through these, and so bear with me, because it's always good to be coached. It's always good to have someone say to us, you know, did you see this behavior? Did you see that? Do you know what it means? Now, if you've been if you've been a realtor for any amount of time, I'm sure you've seen all these behaviors: surprise, disgust, anger. You know, a lot of things that we see in the moment, and for the most part, we can read them. But then, you know, COVID came around, and boy, has it changed the world. I get calls almost every day. Hey, I can't read the people on the other side. You know, they're wearing masks and I can't tell anything. And all of a sudden, body language becomes important once again, from the perspective of, well, we can't see these 9 inches across the face, and we're having trouble understanding others. And it's true, we do glean a lot from the face. We glean a lot from the overall body language. Just think about it. You know, Janet and I were talking about how we assess for danger, something that she's very concerned about, very passionate about, and something that I worry about. And that is that for the most part, we assess each other for danger based on body language. Nobody says, hey, you, I'm going to rob you. We are as humans, we thrive when we can go from just looking to observing and assessing the world around us. Now, one of the things that we often run into when we talk about body language is not just now with COVID and the masks and having to do things online, but the fact that, there's a lot of myths out there. And one of the myths is that, for instance, that if you cross your arm, that it's a blocking behavior, you're being reserved. And I'm sure that if I asked everybody to raise your hand that think this is a blocking behavior, many of you would say so. And in fact, this is a self-hug. We cross our arms to self-comfort. And so I want to go through, get rid of some of the myths out there and talk about the body language that is very authentic and that we can rely on. And so let me begin with what we call pacifiers. And these are behaviors that we do all day long. From the time we're born, we're sucking on things, we're bouncing pencils, we are touching our faces, biting our lips. All these things we do to self-soothe to help us pass the time. Now, most of the time we don't pay a lot of attention to that. We do it just naturally. The brain requires it. It helps us to pass the day. But when people are stressed, when people are experiencing what we call psychological comfort, we see more of that. So the smokers, they will smoke more. The people that are, worried about getting through the checkout line fast, you'll see a lot more lip biting and so forth. People that are, maybe concerned about the price of a house, you'll see a lot of neck touching. These are all nonverbals, they're universal, and they're fairly reliable. But then there's some that people have trouble interpreting, and I want to go through some of those with you. And the first one is this little area between the eyes. This is called the glabella. Now, the glabella is one of those things that at around 3 months of age, babies respond to this. So when they're upset, they furrow their forehead, this area called the glabella, and they will respond to a parent who also furrows the glabella. And it's one of those signs that we give off that says, you know what, I'm struggling with this, or I don't get it, or even I don't like it. So when we're looking at each other, and the person may even have a mask on, anytime you see the furrowing of this area, the glabella, something is not quite right. And so this is often what it looks like, the furrowing of the glabella, the squinting of the eyes. And then you also see, as you see here, with the wrinkling of the nose, which is one of those behaviors that, again, we see starting at about 3 months of age, where we display that we don't like something. And, somebody will offer you something and you'll wrinkle your nose. How many times I've seen individuals look at a contract, and when they come to a paragraph they don't like, their nose wrinkles, and they don't even know they're doing it. So it's extremely accurate. We know that when we're focusing, we tend to squint, but we also tend to squint when something bothers us or we don't agree with things. And this is something that I think we need to have greater reliance on, because the person may not express it, but it's certainly being transmitted through their body language. My neighbor came over the other day and he needed some help, and my eyelids came down. Like he said, "Man, those eyes of yours look like the garage door came down." And he was right. I was looking forward to seeing some stuff on television, and so this eye blocking behavior is very authentic. How often? And you'll see it with groups, with for instance, a husband and a wife or two partners. One is in agreement, the other isn't. And you know that they're in disagreement because the eyelids come down, and that house is way out of our cost range. My other favorite, which is extremely accurate, is the touching of the eyes or covering of the eyes, which when I was studying children who were born blind, when they hear something they don't like, they don't cover their ears, they cover their eyes, and they've never seen. And that's why when the stock market crashes, there's a 6-point drop in the stock market, you see grown men pushing their fingers into their eyes. And it's one of those very accurate behaviors that says something's not right here. The other thing I like to keep an eye on are the lips, because we know that when the lips begin to disappear, in fact, we have a little saying, when the lips disappear, troubles are near. And when the lips compress, like as you see here, then something's really wrong, because most of the time our lips are full and so forth. But when you'll see this with people in sales, as they're fighting something, they're reluctant, they see problems, maybe there's a price point issue, you'll see a lot of lip compression. And this is where you can come in and open up so that they can begin to talk to you and express their issues and their concerns, rather than waiting. Here we see a man with his lips puckered forward. And I hear a lot of salespeople. I've done many events with realtors, and they say, I was talking to them and their head was nodding, affirmative, but their lips were pursed forward, as you see in this picture. Let me tell you something. I've been doing, after 13,000 interviews in the FBI, I can tell you this. Once those lips move forward, they've already made up their mind. If you take nothing else away today, just know this: they've already made up their mind, and it's always negative. So when you see this behavior, the forward lips, this is when you need to go off script and ask them how they feel about what they're talking about, and get them to open up, because otherwise you're wasting the time. And if you see them not just move the lips forward, but dramatically pull them to the side, it's over. At that point, those dramatic lip pulls that they look like this, they've already, not only have they made up their mind, they've adamantly made up their mind, and it's always negative. So be mindful of that. It's extremely accurate. And of course, they do it in real time. Here's a football player who just the other day, I happened to get it on the news feed, where apparently he wasn't happy with his performance. And you see it there with his very dramatic lip pull. When you're dealing with clients, and let's say you ask them, well, how do you feel about this? And, is this something that appeals to you? If someone answers positive, but their lip is pulling upward, this reminds me of Elvis Presley, who was often like this. If they answer positively, but the lip is pulling up, as you see with this young woman, chances are that it's inauthentic, that they're just being nice, but in reality, they don't like what they're saying, and most likely will not follow through. Now, obviously, if they answer every question like that, that's something different. When you're dealing with your clients, keep an eye on each of them. Sometimes you have a husband and wife, sometimes you have multiple couples. But whatever it is, watch for jaw shifting. Jaw shifting is a universal indicator that something's bothering them. Now, it could be something so simple as, I don't like the house, and I just want to go on to the next property, or I don't like the numbers we're discussing, or this is beyond what we have established. But whatever it is, look for jaw shifting. It's very accurate. We usually reserve it until those times when something is bothering us. The other one I'd like for you to look at, and it doesn't matter if you have a mask, and that is when people begin to touch this little area you see circled here called the suprasternal notch. Now, the suprasternal notch, everything goes through there: air, electricity, water, food, blood, everything. So it's one of those areas of the body that is very sensitive and we protect. Watch for when people begin to touch the neck. Women will touch this little area in particular. Men will do it more robustly. They'll grab their shirt or they'll grab their neck really robustly. Neck touching, something is wrong. There's apprehension, concern, sometimes perhaps even fear. So look for this behavior because it's usually manifest in real time, extremely accurate. And just to share something with you, the reason for that is because of large felines. because for tens of thousands of years, felines and large predators were the number one animal that came after humans, and they usually went after our necks. The other one I like to look at is ventilators. And you ask someone, well, are you interested in this? And they tug at their clothes or they pull on their collar to ventilate. Anytime I see that behavior being performed after being asked a question, there are issues. There are issues. Something is not right, and that should give you pause and cause you to ask even more questions. Humans have a need to see hands, and I would tell you from a best practices standpoint, make sure that you use your hands to amplify your message and to provide that psychological comfort that we humans seek. I see a lot of realtors holding objects or putting their hands on their laps when in fact the hands should be in the forward position because our brains prefer that. Watch the hands. A lot of times when we're talking to people, we'll touch our hands. These are self-soothing behaviors. But the minute you see someone begin to discuss something with you or ponder something and their hands are intertwined, this is called the teepee, just like the sticks that come out of the top of the teepee. If their hands are moving very slowly and they're intertwined this way, this is a reserved behavior. And this is usually indicative that something's not right. They're troubled by something, they're not sure, they're insecure. And in fact, it's so accurate that when things are really bad, we do an inverted teepee hands, and we sort of pretzel our hands. And we can just look at that behavior. I don't even need to look at the face to know that something's bothering this individual. And obviously we see that here. And that's how accurate this behavior is. One of the things that you can do in sales, which is extremely powerful, are the subconscious messages that you send. And one of them is the gravity-defying behavior, such as, elevating the thumbs. When you feel positive about something, your eyebrows go up, your thumbs go up for emphasis. This is something that you should master because it has a very positive effect on the individuals. If you say, this is the best deal out there, this is very emphatic. This is like having exclamation points in the same way that steepling is. So here we have a demonstration of steepling because it looks like a church steeple. Steepling is the only behavior amongst humans that says, I am confident. The only behavior, not sitting up, not puffing your chest out, the steeple. Even blind children, when I was studying blind children in the Amazon, they perform this when they are confident about what they know. It's a powerful behavior that says, I know what I'm talking about. It should be used judiciously because obviously you don't want to turn into Mr. Burns and be doing it all the time. I talked about gravity-defying behaviors with saying hello and being generous with the eyes and using this large greeting. This goes for in person as well as virtually. We respond to those arched eyebrows, that eyebrow flash. It's universal, and it should be used to provide that powerful thing called psychological comfort. Psychological comfort is what humans seek. Humans do not seek perfection. We never have. We seek psychological comfort. One of the things that you should avoid as you look at these hands is don't do the politician's handshake, which is the one on the left. And for heaven's sake, don't do the probe. And the probe is the one on the right where the man's finger is halfway up the arm, touching the arm of the other person. These are the two worst rated handshakes. Nobody likes them. and I would encourage you to avoid them. One of the things that you can do to increase what we call face time and get people to like you more is use more head tilt. You know, we used to be taught that smiling was huge, and then we did the research and we found that when you smile and you use head tilt, you garner greater attention and you garner greater face time. Plus, it creates greater psychological comfort. And of course, you don't want to overdo it. One of the things you can do with your feet to get people to stay with you longer is cross your legs while you're standing and talking to them. One of the interesting things that will happen is they will want to stay and loiter just a little bit longer. It's a little hack I learned in the FBI when people were tired of talking to me, and it worked every time. Be aware of spatial needs. Some people don't like others to get too close. We all must respect each other's space. Some of it has to do with culture, some with parts where we live in the country, and some of it is personal. So just be aware of it. So I like to stand a little bit further apart, lean in, shake hands. One of the things that you can do to help yourself as you look at these executives is that we humans, if you give presentations, you should always be framed in the color blue, that your handouts should be have the color blue in it, that if your website has the color blue, it will be clicked on more often and people will stay on it longer. We humans have a preference for the color blue. And lastly, let me just say this. Whether you're in sales or management, whatever you're in, but especially for realtors, you are in the people business, and all people want is psychological comfort. That person that provides it, be it by the tone of voice, be it by your graciousness, be it by all the little things that you do, you're going to be the soonest winner. So thank you very much. And I meant to say thank you for that earlier prayer. We could all use that. If you have any questions, maybe we have a minute or so, Janet. You can certainly always go to my books to get more answers. They're at most libraries, so you don't have to buy them. And I thank you for this invitation. So thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I did want to ask you about mirroring. You know, like when we're at a listing and all of that, the impact that mirroring can have, and shrugs.
Yeah, so mirroring, we know it's very powerful. Mirroring in every way. So, for instance, someone that speaks very fast, you don't want to have, you don't want somebody that's talking very slow. And mirroring is not mimicking. Mirroring is, if somebody leans against the wall to talk to you, well, okay, I'll lean up against the wall to talk. If you sit down, I'll sit down. If you get something to drink, I'll grab something in my hand, and so forth. Always remember this. Synchrony is harmony. Synchrony is harmony. The more synchronous we are, the more in harmony we'll be. And by the way, that also applies to words. So synchrony of words, the mirroring of words. So if they say, well, I have a real problem with this, don't come back and say, as young people tend to do, oh, I see you have an issue. That's not what they said. They said, I have a problem. In the same way that wife and kids is not the same as family. These things have different weight, and that's not mirroring. As far as shrugging, a lot of times we shrug, we say, I don't know. What I look for is when you ask someone for an affirmative answer, and only one shoulder comes up. And so they'll go like this. Yeah, we like it. Not likely. Not likely. Mm-hmm. Because normally we would see a more robust behavior, an emphatic behavior. So anything that's slowed and dragged out, I would question.
And palms up and palms down when they communicate with their hands.
So, this is the rogatory, to basically, to pray. So the rogatory position is, you're open, you're attentive, and so forth. And I prefer the palm up position, but always, being smooth, and broad, and say, look at this wonderful neighborhood, nice and broad, very smooth. And if I could, one last thing about safety. One of the easiest ways to always remain safe is obviously to always be observant, to have situational awareness, but never hesitate, especially young people, young realtors, is never hesitate to put that hand up and say, just hold it right there and not get any closer. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I've done it several times where someone had tried to confront me and I said, no, you're not getting any closer, because I know how often you go to properties that, as the Brits would say, they're not proper, and sometimes they're downright scary, and we have to think about your own safety. And
Joe, I could keep you all day with questions, but if you wouldn't mind, and this will be my last one, when we're talking about predator behavior or suspect behavior, how they do telegraph intentions. It's just that people don't know about it. So sweating, eyes.
That's a great question, Janet. They can, because they're focused. Most people look at you and they look away. Predators tend to overly focus on you, or try to isolate you, or try to maneuver so that at some point in time you will be at the same spot. Now, usually your limbic system takes care of that, is assessing for that. But, we have to take responsibility. So the way we walk, the way we hold ourselves, making eye contact with anybody that you think might be an issue, that is something that we must and should do, to let them know, I see you, and let them know that, we are robust, that we're not going to yield.
Thank you, sir. I'm just so happy you were here. I hope we have you back. Why don't we give him a real realtor thank you? I hope you guys liked it. I hope you liked it.
Thank you very
keep him
much.
Here all day.
I wish you all a lot of luck, and congratulations on starting this year with this great event. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. John, Andrea, why don't you guys come back up? And we're going to be finishing this. And Jeff, where's Jeff? See, immediate past president.
Well, we all know
Jeff?
Janet has read the book, or all the books, so she knows everything you're thinking the next time she sees you out in the hallway.
That's my superpower.
That was very cool.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Really?
I took lots of good notes, and just hoping you all will kind of stick around a little longer. I was trying to think how I could do that. You're supposed to stay longer, right? So no. Anyway, that was very good. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Andrea, tell them a few things before we wrap up here.
Yeah, so you remember that your registration for this conference was free 90 free? Woo, right? And we can't do all of that without our amazing and generous sponsors. So help me in thanking our conference sponsors: USA Mortgage, From Your Friends Relationship Marketing, Home Warranty Inc., and Choice Home Warranty.
And I have to say, I use them all. That's why I'm so proud that they stepped up and they're sponsors of this particular conference.
I love it. We are so thankful to have amazing sponsors. So please turn your attention to the screen for a short video message from Your Friends Relationship Marketing.
Welcome to From Your Friends. In the next few minutes, you'll learn how our unique and highly effective relationship marketing program will help you build repeat business and referrals. The program is simple yet powerful. Each month, we negotiate a valuable offer from a local restaurant or attraction to send to your past clients and sphere of influence as a gift from you, their friend in the real estate industry. So now you can send your sphere to great restaurants, sporting events, family attractions, and more. Each monthly gift is sent as a beautifully designed postcard, personalized with your name on the front and your photo and marketing message on the back. You can make your postcards look just the way you want with our easy-to-use online design tool and change it for free as often as you like. We know you're busy, so we made the program extremely easy to use. Just go to FromYourFriends.com and click the subscribe button. It only takes a few minutes to create your account. We handle all the addressing and mailing. You can upload your database from a contact management program or simply input your contacts one at a time. It is just that easy. And From Your Friends is an outstanding value. There is no sign-up fee, no cancellation fee, no contracts, and a minimum order of only 25 postcards. Mailed postcards cost just 92 cents, including printing, postage, and the great offer. It's so affordable that just one referral will pay for the program for years to come. We know the program works. Real estate agents tell us all the time how their subscription has created stronger relationships with their clients and led to more referrals and new listings. So sign up for From Your Friends today. In less than 10 minutes, you will be well on your way to getting more repeat business and referrals and making more money. Now is the time to start turning your customers into friends.
Yep, it's Janet proof. So you can send them out every 3 months, 6 months. It's a wonderful program. So just wanted to pass that out. So go ahead. It's your turn now. It's your turn.
So immediately following this opening session, the Major Investor Lounge, which is a fun little spot down the hallway, will be open officially for major investors. So if you haven't officially visited the Major Investors Lounge in the past, please see your friendly RPAC chairman near you, and we'll get you a pass in there. Also, don't forget YPN Game Night tonight at 7 p.m. for those of you that are gaming. And then new for this conference, tomorrow at lunchtime, one of my 3 favorite times of day. Gee, I wonder why they had me talking about lunch. Lunch is free on your own. Do you decide where you go to lunch? So that means emos for me, so I'll be downstairs at that time. You're free from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. tomorrow to go out and enjoy fresh air, and emos, or the lunch of your choice. What else is happening tomorrow, John?
Well, this is different for all of us because obviously we're sitting far apart. There are more people watching us live stream than sitting here in the room. And that's by design. Last week, we did all of our output group meetings virtually, and that decision was made so that fewer people really needed to be in person. We know you all want to be in person, but we were trying to find ways to have fewer people that actually needed to be here. So that leaves the mission committees tomorrow. You don't have to get up as early as you normally would unless you're a committee chair or vice chair because you have a breakfast in the morning. Don't forget that. But we did make every single meeting. Was anyone in a meeting today that used the OWL camera? It was pretty incredible. So we have these OWL cameras. The person that's joining virtually will see 360-degree views of the room. When you're speaking, speak towards the camera moves to you. And this is all about the person joining us virtually having as close to the same experience as you're having. And that was really our goal here. The leadership team was focused on that. So mission committees tomorrow morning, and then candidate forum right after lunch, immediately following, it's in this room, immediately following that is the emerging issues forum, which we've already told you about the speakers. And then someone gets installed tomorrow night, Janet and Sandy Grassmuck and their leadership teams get involved. For the board of directors, there really isn't room for guests in the board of directors room because it's one person per 6-foot table, but we have an overflow room that if you are a guest or you could be on board of directors and go to the overflow room if you want. Everyone's voting the same way, whether you're in person or virtual. Andrea mentioned that. It's the same experience for everyone. We're trying to be as green as we can be, so all of the materials are online. If you're on the board of directors, you've already received your board of directors packet. There's a green button on the January Business Conference main page, green button that says board of directors packet. And of course, we don't have the action items yet because executive committee will meet tomorrow afternoon and pass any final actions that are coming to you after the mission committee. So that's about it, I think.
Good job. Good job. So this means this meeting's coming to the end. So I want you to go forth, do good things, and let's prove that 2021 that we are the leading association in the state of Missouri. We safeguard real estate property rights, and we are an essential source. We have all these essential resources to advance the role of realtors in Missouri. So thank you for being here. Enjoy your evening. Go forth and prosper.
Thank you.